focusing on ombre stamping this month, so that is always lots of fun. And I'm starting by doing a little bit of embossing. I didn't actually film pulling all this stuff out and kind of, right from the beginning of what I was doing, because originally this wasn't going to be part of the layout. But as I got going and I was kind of thinking about what I was doing, I decided to go ahead and incorporate it. So I've got some stamps here from Ink Road Stamps. This is Sarah Scrapp's set that she created, the like mom boys set that she created. And I was kind of wanting to experiment with embossing words because I really struggle with that. And since I am on the Emerald Creek design team and Kim is known for her absolutely amazing embossing powders, I figure I really need to kind of up my game and practice embossing and really like crack down on all of the little mistakes I make and practice. I need practice so that I can really showcase her products to the best of my abilities and like show just how stunning and beautiful and wonderful they are. So that's where this originally started, and then I decided I'm just gonna go for it and turn it into a layout. So yeah, that's what it evolved into. So I really decided to play up on the ombre theme, and I have some ombre paper in the background, and I'm going to create an ombre kind of mat here with this paper. This is watercolor paper, so it's pretty tough and hardy and can take a lot of this ink. And so I went ahead and embossed a bunch of words. Oh, the cats are at it. Sorry about that. Embossed a bunch of words, and then I put the ink over top, and then I just used a little baby wipe to kind of wipe up some of those spots where the embossing powder resists the ink so that the words would kind of pop through a little bit. I intentionally picked an embossing powder that is mostly clear. It's called Fractured Ice, and so it doesn't add a ton of color. It mostly just kind of gives you like a nice glossy finish with little pops of some blue and some mint, and there's even a little bit of like darker flecks in there, but for the most part it's clear, so it works good as a resist. Even though my words aren't maybe the most clear, I still have to work on that, but I like the way that this turned out. I also sprinkled a little bit of water on there just so I could get some of that kind of distressed look and that watercolor look from the Distress Oxides. So because my paper that you see here in the background was kind of in the green ombre spectrum, is that the right word? Sure, let's go with that. I decided to choose blue for my inks. Blues and greens are probably my favorite colors, but I also knew that I had these 49 and Market ephemera bits and pieces, and those are kind of in the reds and yellows and oranges, and so there's some nice contrast there that I could add for embellishment. So kind of working with those primary colors, I guess you could say, but I think they turned out really nice, and I like that I was able to kind of get the ombre effect with each of the elements that I've added to this layout. So yeah, that's always fun. So let's talk about ombre stamping. I think that there are a ton of different techniques. Honestly, I think if you go, I urge you to go and look through the playlist, because I would venture to guess, I haven't had a chance to check out everybody's videos yet, but I will. But I would venture to guess that we all just have slightly different techniques for how we get that effect on our stamps. So for me, I like to kind of go directly to the stamp pad, and it's kind of all about positioning the stamps in the right way so that, like on the actual stamping block, so that I can kind of use the stamp pad to pick up ink properly, but you could use your ink daubers, or I've seen people even like pick up ink on cotton balls, or sorry, my nose is all stuffy, so if I'm pronouncing some words weird, that is why I am fighting a head cold. On Q-tips, those types of things. Some people I have seen use the stamping block to actually put color onto the block or on a silicone mat or something like that, and then kind of create the ombre effect, and then dip the stamp into the colors that have already been arranged in that ombre way. I think there's lots of different ways. I've seen people do that, and then they spray it just a little bit so that when you dip your stamp into the color, it kind of blends where all the unique colors are. But for me, like I said, I just go right to the ink pad. So you can see here, I tend to start with the middle color. Sometimes there's two colors, but I kind of go in the middle, and I don't worry so much if the whole stamp gets covered with that middle color, because it's meant to be blended anyways. But I'll kind of dip in the middle, and then I go back and dip a little bit of the, the front color or the first color, and dip a little bit in the back. And then sometimes you might have to touch that middle again. So you can see here, I go back and forth between the different ink pads until I get something that I think looks really nicely blended. So again, I do this several times for you guys to be able to see it, but I think it's sort of just about practice. And if you don't like it, wipe it off and start again. You don't have to kind of, use something that you don't like. I've practiced this a few times where I've, just had a piece of white paper and gone ahead and kind of dipped and stuff like that. I do keep a baby wipe beside me, so if I need to go in and just gently remove some color or anything, that's really easy to do. So I showed you with some of those stamps how I do it when I'm working from right to left, but here with this stamp, I'm actually going to work from top to bottom. So again, I start in the middle, and I'm using the very edge of the stamp pads, like the ink pads. I started in the middle, and then I'm going to add color to the top, and then I'm going to add color to the bottom. And then I kind of go back and forth a little bit so that those colors all touch. That's what you want. You want them to be able to touch. And then here I'm actually doing a fun technique. You don't have to do it with ombre, but if you have a background that has some ink on it that is water soluble, so like your distress inks, that type of thing, take your stamp. You don't have to already have ink on it. I just happen to already have the ink there. Wet your stamp and stamp it down onto that background. So it's going to leave water in the shape of your stamp on the background. Then just take a dry cloth and tap that water down. Don't smudge it or rub it, just gently tap that water off. What it's going to do is create the shape of the stamp in a lighter, it's going to lighten that, sorry, let me try that again. My nose is not letting me pronounce words properly. It's going to lighten the ink in the background, and then you can go back in and ink your stamp and stick it down on the outline that you've created, and you get this cool little halo around your stamp. And so when I went ahead and did that, I did have some ink already on my stamp. I didn't bother cleaning it off. I stamped it the first time, sprayed it, stamped it down in a different place, dried up that water to get that kind of halo effect. And then I went back and re-inked my stamp and popped it down, and now the ombre really stands out there and it has this little kind of halo effect to it. It's really, really cool. I definitely recommend playing around with it, and it's just because it's reacting to the water. So the ink that I put in my background gets picked up a little bit by that wet stamping that I did. So it's kind of a fun, cool little technique. But essentially for me, that is how I ombre. Start with the middle. Make sure that you're getting the middle of your stamp covered. Maybe if you have a color that has, you know, on its lightest end is really, really light, try not to get any ink on that part of the stamp. Like if that is, say, on the left side of a word, and you want that to be the lightest, try not to get all of the color on there. But if you get your medium color all the way to the other end, to the right side of your stamp, that's okay, because whatever your darker color is in a true ombre, it's already made up of that medium color as well, so it isn't going to affect it, and it'll look really nicely blended. If you need to, because of the way of the shape of the stamp or whatever it is, if you need to kind of stamp it all down and then go in with your you know, baby wipe or a little wet Q-tip or whatever, however precise you need it to be, use the right tool to do that. But you can go and kind of clean up your stamp where you need to. But that's my recommendation. Start in the middle, no matter what, which way you're going, right to left, or I guess left to right, or top to bottom, bottom to top, diagonal, however you want to do it. And just make sure that every time you're dipping it, because you might want to go kind of back and forth to make sure that all of your colors are really vibrant, but you want them to touch. So don't worry if you know, you're kind of blending. If it's not working and you can't really figure out with your particular stamp how to get them to blend, then you definitely can take a Q-tip or something along those lines and kind of go in and touch all the colors where you need them to blend, or give them just the lightest spritz with some water to help them kind of blend a little bit before you stamp them. So there are, you know, ways to kind of work with every shape of stamp, but that's what I like to do, and I love the way that these worked. You have to watch all the way to the end for my little kind of close-up at the end of the video, but also on my Instagram where I have close-up photos, you'll be able to see some of the stamping. It just turns out so beautiful, and I definitely think certain colors work better for ombre when you're doing stamping. That's just me. I feel like there's, you know, a lot of options for the blues, for example, to really make them stand out nice. I think like pinks into purples really ombre really well. So those are the ones that I tend to go for, but it's a lot of fun. So experiment with it. Watch all the videos in this playlist to pick up all the different tips and tricks, and just have fun. So to finish this off, I did a couple more embossed stamped images with those beautiful stars, just to really kind of bring that into the whole layout. And then I added some of the ephemera from the 49 and Market. I punched out some stars from the little punch out pieces that were in that ephemera pack. Those are from the little what are those called? Like the projector picture wheels. That's not the right word, but that's what we're going to go with right now because my brain can't think of what it is. But I punched out some stars kind of in the ombre there. And then I added sequins, of course. And I think this turned out so super cute. Look at how beautiful that one stamped. Really gorgeous. I love that ombre. And yeah, that is it. That is my layout for this month. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Please click subscribe if you haven't already. Check out the links down below for Emerald Creek Craft Supplies. My discount code will be down there too, so you can grab some fun goodies from Kim. And that's it for now. So thank you so much, guys. Love you. Happy scrapping. Bye.
Bye. Thanks to me. To what button? To my channel.